So, as I said, although it was, Romsey councillors talking about housing, it was much more citywide issues. The citywide issue of housing, which of course is inextricably linked with, do we build on the green belt or do we leap the green belt, as it were, and have satellite towns, but then we need to have very, very, very much better transport links. We have very similar things. I mean, in quite a lot of these things, particularly Labour and the Lib Dems, have very similar policies. I would say, if we have, let's for simplicity's sake, there are 5 policies. 4 of them would probably be the same, but we might well do them in a different order or do them slightly differently, because there's an awful lot of overlap. I mean, when Labour took control a couple of years ago from us, they kept the vast majority, 85%, 80, 85, 90% of our policies. But there are things they're doing differently. Perhaps they've got the same aim, but they approach it in a different way. And there are some things that they do which, well, we might have done, but it wouldn't be a top priority. So, but there's an awful lot of overlap, of course. It's both. It's both the party that, I mean, the advantage of having a party structure in local government means that each councillor can specialise and rely on citywide issues. You can have people specialising, and their colleagues can rely on their judgment because they know they're coming from working on the same principles. That's the advantage of party political people over an independent. On specifically ward issues, well, it is very, as you say, it's very much whether people are connected, whether they know the ward, whether they're willing to make the effort, put in the hours, do the stuff. And I would claim, I mean, I'm practically on my record, and I would claim that I have put in the hours, I have done the stuff, I have done things, and will continue to do so. It depends on how far people take national criteria into account. Actually, in by-elections, since the general election, we've been doing really quite well. The vast majority, our vote has gone up, and we've made quite a number of gains. So, in a sense, a lot of the voters have moved on and are now looking at things in a slightly different light. They've also perhaps realised that our claim that we stopped the coalition, we stopped people, the Tories, doing an awful lot of nasty things, which they're now doing. I don't think people believed us, but perhaps they do now. But really, it should be much more on local issues. Either a Lib Dem or Labour have won. In standalone local elections, where it tends to be a lower turnout than when there's another election as well, we tend to get 800, 900, 1,000. This was actually a by-election. The result was a by-election, which Labour just won, which is the last time we were voting here. It was just after the general election. And Labour topped the poll. On other occasions, we've topped the poll. As I say, 800, 900, 1,000 for Labour and us. Sometimes one's on top, sometimes another. Always close, always close. The Conservatives don't make a big showing in Romsey. There are not very many. The Greens have had more over the last year or so, but they also haven't come anywhere near Labour or Lib Dem.
Right.
So, I mean, and basically I'm fighting on my record. And, I mean, I've put a number of leaflets out about the record, but this is probably the most significant one, which is what we call the map record, which is things that I've done. Though actually when I looked at it after it had been printed and it was too late, I thought, actually, this is stuff that I've done this year. And it doesn't have anything, well, some of the things have been long term, but it's not the record of the last 4 years, never mind the last 18 years. This is just 1 year of the kinds of things. Some of them not very big, but things like getting, for instance, getting the double yellow lines lengthened on the junction of Wycliffe and Brooks Road. I mean, it's not going to save the world, but it might make it safer for people using that junction. So, and that of course is half what a good half of what a local councillor is doing. Those incremental things, little things that make it just that little bit better for the people who live there. And that's what I claim that I've been doing over these years. Things that people have brought to me, things that people have asked me. Sometimes it takes longer than I would hope. Sometimes it seems to take ages, but quite a lot of them not enormously big things, but things that make a difference for people. Then, of course, you're part of the citywide ruling the city, and things like the local plan will affect the way in which Cambridge develops over the next 20-odd years. So it's a combination of quite small things and then quite big things.